skeptics, saying, this can't work. They are making it up. They are fooled by a prestidigitator. Uri Geller is a magician, all those things. Right. Well, he is a magician, but he's also, an extraordinary psychic.
So could you explain? So they're looking for this Russian spacecraft. So how do they? What's the environment? And
so Ingo, after the project was pretty much over, there was some continuous studies, and Ingo brought me back to work with him because he wanted to write a book that would be a synthesis of his methodology, to answer your question of how do you do this. And he had a very structured way of doing that, with a number of what he wanted to do was train people to do that, hopefully to his level. Okay, so it was step by step. So there was a first. You had a pad of paper, and a pen. And he was sitting at the end. The table was about like this, except there was nothing on it. In a room that had nothing on the walls, no windows. There was a chair here and a chair there. So he was away from me. I couldn't see what he was reading. He had a stack of targets that were places on the Earth. And, obviously, the idea was to look at what was going on in, Vladivostok or in, some...
When you say a stack of targets, can you explain, is it a map? Is just coordinates?
It was just coordinates.
So just numbers?
He had gotten the maps, and those were test things from, geographic features on the Earth, cities, mountains, and so on. So he would read out the coordinates, and I had a pad of paper and a number 2 pencil, so everything was very coded, very strict. And I would draw something that he called an ideogram. So it could be like this, it could be a curve, it could be. And then just first impression. His theory, which I think, having experienced it, we did that for a year. Now, I had a job somewhere else, but I was coming 2 mornings a week, to work with him. And this was classified. So the other people at SRI had no idea what was going on in that room that was dedicated to his work. And he would read out, his idea was that we can all get that signal. There is a signal. If I give you a longitude and a latitude, you potentially can describe what's there. If it's a city, if it's a mountain, if it's someplace in the country. The reason you cannot is that the signal is overwhelming. The signal is extraordinarily large, much larger than we can hold it in our brains. So the people who do that have a way of processing the signal and recalling it. And that's the secret. That's the main thing to me that's come out of the SRI study, among many things. But so his idea was you have to stop the signal, you have to catch it. And it's going to be very, very fast, and most people just go on with their life. It's just a passing thing. But you can recall the signal. So he would read out the coordinates again. And now my little scribble is going to turn into maybe a series of waves, and then, a city with skyscrapers. After, if we do that a number of ways. Now, there are a lot of errors that can come in, and then we can think we recognize it and try to name it. That's the thing you shouldn't do. You shouldn't try to name it, because to name it, put it in the other half of the brain, which is logical and rational, and So the idea is to label that as an error. It's not a city by the bay; it's something else. So we go on, and we keep just going on. So you have to do that with a very patient guide, to train yourself to do that. And SRI, Hal and Ingo did that, very well in training a cadre of people who could be almost not quite